The most dangerous man in any room is never the one who speaks the loudest. He's the one sitting in the corner, stone-faced, perfectly still, watching every move, calculating every weakness, and saying absolutely nothing. While others compete for attention, he is collecting information. While others try to impress, he's building leverage. And when the moment finally comes, he doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't even need to. Because he has already won. Most men think power comes from dominance in conversation, speaking more, speaking louder, having the last word. But the most powerful psychological operators in history understood something that the average man never learns. Silence is not the absence of power. Silence is the power. Today, I am giving you the manual. These are the 5 silent laws of psychological warfare. 5 strategies used by world-class negotiators, elite military leaders, and silent kings to control any interaction, dominate any room, and win any conflict, without uttering a single unnecessary word. These laws are not theory. They are field-tested tools, and once you see them, you will never look at a conversation the same way again. Stay until law number 5. It is the most dangerous one of all. Most people are terrified of silence. The moment a question hangs in the air, they rush to fill it. They ramble. They over-explain. They reveal everything they should be protecting. And here is where your power begins. The tactical pause is simple. When someone asks you a question, especially in a high-stakes moment, you do not immediately answer. You pause. 4 seconds, 5 seconds, sometimes even longer. You hold still. You make eye contact. You breathe. What happens in that silence is psychological gold. The other person, already uncomfortable, begins to fill the void. They start talking. They add context that was never asked for. They soften their position. They negotiate against themselves. Silence after a question is not weakness, it is a trap. Elite interrogators use this. Elite negotiators use this. Chess grandmasters use this. The man who speaks first in a tense moment is almost always the one who loses. From this moment forward, learn to sit in the silence. Let others squirm. Watch what they reveal. Every emotion you show is intelligence handed to your opponent. When you flinch at a provocation, they know how to provoke you. When you smile at a compliment, they know how to manipulate you. When you react to a threat, they know your fear threshold. Law number 2 is the unreadable shield, the trained ability to maintain a neutral, composed expression during any social or psychological attack. Think of it as psychological armor. When someone attempts to destabilize you, with an insult, a power play, an unexpected move, they are watching your face for data. Your reaction is their roadmap. Give them nothing. The man who cannot be read cannot be controlled. Stone face, steady eyes, measured breathing. Not cold, not arrogant, simply unreadable. When you walk into a negotiation wearing the unreadable shield, you immediately shift the psychological balance. Because the moment the other person realizes they cannot get a read on you, they become uncertain. And uncertainty breeds hesitation, and hesitation gives you control. Practice this. Stand in front of a mirror and trigger your own emotional reactions, anger, embarrassment, surprise, and then flatten them. Build the muscle of stillness. That stillness is your shield. Presence is power, but only when it is rationed. Most men are everywhere, available always, responding instantly, chasing proximity to whoever they want to impress. And in doing so, they make themselves ordinary. Law number 3 is strategic distance, the deliberate management of your physical and social presence to increase your perceived authority and mystery. Consider, the most powerful leaders in history were never the most accessible ones. Kings held court. They did not wander the village. Generals commanded from elevated positions. They did not run into the chaos. Distance creates perception, and perception is reality in any social environment. In practice, this means you do not always respond immediately. You choose when to engage. You physically position yourself at the edge of a room, observing rather than performing. You appear selectively. Your arrivals carry weight. Your absences are noticed. A rare thing is always more valuable than a common one. Make yourself rare. Strategic distance is not isolation. It is calibration. When you do show up, fully, intentionally, every person in the room feels it. Because they have learned that your presence means something. Here is a truth that most men refuse to accept. The person doing 70% of the talking is not in control of the conversation. The person doing 30% of the talking and all of the listening is. Law number 4 is the listener's advantage, and it is one of the most misunderstood forms of psychological dominance that exists. When you let someone else speak, truly speak, without interruption, without rushing them, you are gathering an extraordinary amount of intelligence. You learn what they value, what they fear, what they want, what they are willing to trade. You discover the gaps between what they say and what they actually mean. And you learn the emotional triggers they are carrying into the room. Every word they speak is a card shown. The silent listener collects the entire hand before playing a single card of his own. Ask questions, then be quiet. Nod, make eye contact, let the silence do the work. The moment they feel truly heard, they open up further, they reveal more, they trust you. And now you hold every card you need. The man who listens most deeply always negotiates from a position of full information, and full information is leverage. This is the law most men will never use, because it requires the one thing that requires the most discipline of all: knowing when to walk away. Law number 5 is the ultimate withdrawal, and it is the most psychologically devastating tool in the silent arsenal. Here is the principle. In any negotiation, any confrontation, any power struggle, the person who is willing to walk away holds all the power. Not because walking away ends the game, but because the threat of walking away, especially when executed calmly, without drama, without explanation, immediately resets the terms of the interaction. When you rise from the table, without raising your voice, without slamming a door or making threats, and simply leave, you have done something no argument could accomplish. You have shown them that you do not need them. And the moment someone believes you do not need them, they need you. Desperation speaks, power withdraws. The withdrawal is not a tantrum, it is not a bluff. It is a cold, calculated move reserved for the man who has already decided his value is non-negotiable. The man who is willing to walk away from the table, the relationship, the deal, the room, without looking back, is the most psychologically dangerous man in any interaction. Practice detachment. Build your life so that no single person, opportunity, or outcome has complete control over you. That is when the withdrawal becomes your ultimate weapon. These 5 laws are not about being cold. They are not about being distant or arrogant. They are about being deliberate. The tactical pause to control the tempo of every conversation. The unreadable shield to protect your psychology from attack. Strategic distance to control how your presence is perceived. The listener's advantage to gather intelligence while others reveal themselves. And the ultimate withdrawal to demonstrate that your value is absolute. These are the laws of the man who has stopped trying to be the loudest in the room and has decided, instead, to be the most powerful. Silence is not emptiness. It is strategy. It is patience. It is the language of those who have already decided to win. Begin practicing one law this week. Just one. Watch what shifts. Which of these 5 laws hit you the hardest? Drop la W in the comments below, and I'll show you exactly how to counter each one when you see it used against you. If this gave you value, you know what to do. Stay silent. Stay dangerous.